this special meeting of the Caucasian Township Board, August 22nd, 2 o'clock. Call to order. Let's say pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Charlie, can you turn on your speakerphone, please?
I did.
I can really hear.
There you go. Okay, we'll do a roll call.
Campbell,
Yes.
Davidson,
Yep,
DeShano,
she's
She's
on the phone.
by conference call.
Class.
Hello.
Here. Okay. Cruz here.
All right, public input. Anybody want to speak for public input? Seeing none,
Never mind.
we don't have any unfinished business, so we'll go right to new business.
I can't hear very
I thought you
well.
had one. Maybe I took yours.
It's okay. Got one. Yeah.
All right, new business in regards to the fire chief. I worked with the acting chief and we went through some different scenarios and we come up with offering the new fire chief position to Steve Burnrider with some terms and conditions as far as him getting, I think it's 4 or 5, I lost that, I must have left that piece of paper home that I had all the terms on, but it was like 4 classes.
Yeah, 5.
5 classes that had to be taken over a period of time. And as chief, he would start with a lower salary. Every class he passed, we would add 50 cents an hour to the salary, and any overtime would be $21.50, I believe it was. And he has accepted that position at those terms and is interested in starting around the 1st of September. So,
I gotta get the rest of my notes down here.
Is there any way you can improve the audio for me?
Probably
So
not.
5 classes to be
Just a
taken.
minute.
yeah, I can get you the exact verbiage.
Okay.
I had it on a piece of paper, but I thought I had it with me, but it wasn't the right piece of paper. So, to move forward, there will be 2 chiefs until Jim retires, an active chief, and after the 1st of September, Steve will be the chief until they'll work together on certain things until
Transition.
a transition period. And we're gonna try and get me on the Verizon account. So, anyhow,
I might be able to help with that too.
I don't think you're an administrator, so
I think
we're
we
working
may
on
have
that. So,
It's Verizon.
any questions, comments, or concerns?
I have a few.
One
so
at
you're
a
saying
time.
that- Oh, I'm sorry, I can't hear anybody else.
One at a time.
Okay.
I'll put her so everybody can know hear it.
I can hear her.
Okay. Talk.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
So, according to what was proposed, you're saying we would have 2 chiefs approximately 9 days. the chief is currently making $22 an hour. But in this case, Mr. Bernreiter would be making $21.50 per hour. And essentially taking one class would put him up to the same rate that the current acting chief after many years of service is making.
No. The 50 cents would go on to, do you have that piece of paper in front of you?
I do.
Okay, so you see the base salary, and that's figured at 48 hours a week, 52 weeks out of the year. So that every class he passes, the 50 cents will go on the base salary. His overtime, his whatever else he does will remain at the $21. I thought it was $21.50. Yeah.
Yeah, it shows $21.50. So if he took one of the required classes, then he would only be at $22 an hour. That would change the salary substantially, right?
No, his salary is gonna go up 50 cents for every class he takes. His salary, if you take 50 cents times 48 hours times 52 weeks, that's what his salary will go up from the day he passes the class.
That's what she just said.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with the hourly. It has nothing to do with the hourly. His hourly will still remain at $21.50 for any overtime or any extra time. Let's say he takes somebody else's shift.
But the sheet in front of you says 50 cents per hour added for each necessary class is successfully taken and passed.
Federal Express, but Molly's here.
So that is based on it per hour, and the salary is based on it per hour.
Salary is less than what the chief is making now.
Right.
Base salary.
Well, that little per hour thing is not what we agreed to. We agreed to raise his salary 50 cents and his hourly would remain the same. So anything over the 48 hours a week would be at $21.50.
Larry, if you look at those figures there and stuff like that, I was basing that on the fact of, one, we did not get a raise this year, okay? And that would have taken it up to $21.50, 21 or $22.60 or whatever. When you look at the timeline that's going to be involved with these classes and stuff, by the time he is done, it figures into everything else, and he should be about what the chief would be needed to be paid.
Okay, so right now, as the acting chief, we approved you at $22 an hour.
Right.
With the 6 classes that are listed here, if there's an increase for each class,
Right.
you would be at $24.50 in what, a year?
No, it's going to take him longer than that to do that. You're looking at, theoretically, you're looking at a 3-year time period.
Okay.
So, and
That's helpful, thank
you
you.
may have normal increases, but when you look at what that is based on and figure that all out, by the time he's done with the classes, by the time he's done with the normal increases and stuff, that wage will be approximately what he should be making.
But the 50 cents an hour for each class, the actual 50 cents is not an hour for the hourly wage. It'll be added into his salary.
I get that part.
Okay.
So when Mr. Bernreiter was appointed as the assistant chief, his letter will talk about his educational requirements that would be required. Were those required to be the assistant chief as well as the chief, or is there a difference?
There's a difference now. These are all,
So
these are new factors that have come up with the new state fire marshal and the firefighters training council. As far as myself, different chiefs around the state and stuff like that, we are grandfathered in. They cannot just simply come in and remove us. You know, And that gets into, the experience factor, okay? And it means a lot, so. You know, and that's,
Well, I understand that there's a lot of experience. I'm just curious if, as the present assistant chief, the education requirements are met, and if they'd be met if he was appointed as the chief.
right. It still has to be done.
Well, I understand it has to be done, but I'm curious about our ability to appoint him as chief, knowing that there's going to be 3 to 4 years of education requirements. Does that put us in a position with the state requirements?
Yes. That puts us in you can appoint anybody you want, okay? And as long as they're meeting that time frame or working on that time frame and stuff like that, that's what the state is requesting. They're
So
not
basically,
saying,
a plan of training.
they're not saying that you have to have them right now, but you have to obtain them.
Okay. I did not get a copy of this agenda because I couldn't make it. Is this the only item under new business?
Yes, it is.
So, I do have a question, and one of the questions I have is, the last classes that were taken were in 99 or 2000? So there's no CEs along the road, or?
Fire 1 and Fire 2 didn't require any CEs until 2 years ago. Now you have to have 36 continuing education, or 36 hours of continuing training in 3 hours. That works from everybody from the top down, from the chief all the way to the bottom firefighter. The state of Michigan just did that. Prior to that, there was no continuing education to hold your Fire 1 and Fire 2 certificates. Once you had them, you had them forever. Now you have to. So October of 2025, everybody in this department will have to log in underneath their state ID, check a box saying they have that 36 hours of training to maintain their Fire 1 and Fire 2. With that, there is no curriculum for it. So when our guys go through the trucks for 2 hours, that's 2 hours of training every month that they get towards their, plus our 2 hours of department training we do, plus any other training that's outside of that. When I attend a MABUS meeting, that's 2 hours of company officer training, because being an officer, not only do I have to have 36 hours of regular training, I have to have 12 more hours of training on top of that for being a fire officer, regardless of whether it's a chief or a lieutenant. So with the state, like I said, there's no curriculum. When you go to a MABUS meeting, that's considered 2 hours of company officer training. When you show up at the Northern Fire Chiefs meeting that they have every month, they call that 2 hours of company officer training. So there's no, say, set curriculum. Like our EMS stuff, they have a list of things you have to get to keep your license. Clear, the state of Michigan doesn't. It's just you have to have continuing. You have to have 36 hours of training in 3 years. That's what
Basically, it's what we've been doing all along, okay, except now it has to be documented, and it has to be retained. Not only by the individuals, but by the department.
Most departments meet their 36 hours, but there were some that didn't, so this was a way to make sure that people were, and we've always documented ours. I mean, we have training records going back for eons and eons, yeah. I mean, we have training records.
I'm just asking.
No, that's.
I looked at it and I was just given these in the last, 2 weeks we received them. And,
Well, if you look at my training record, you will see a lot that isn't there, because the new system that they had in there before, I think, 97 or 98, the records are there, but they don't show up on that screen. Okay, because of that system or whatever and stuff, so, you know, mine's kind of bare, but it's a lot of stuff that I took before. And some of the classes that are coming up, where they used to be forever, you get FEMA or the state, and they change a paragraph, they change a page, you have to take the whole class again, so. Like the instructor one deal, Steve and I went through a Ed Meth class, which was that instructor's deal before, and when they went to their new system and stuff, all of a sudden that doesn't count. That's gone. So he's got to do it all over again. Which to me is pathetic, but that's the way they set it up.
Yeah, a lot of those are fire officer classes that I have in there, but because I was one class short and they decided to redo the curriculum, Now you just take them all over again. Your certificates are your certificates, but they don't go towards your fire officer one anymore because you gotta start all over again. It's the state, can't argue with them.
I'm
so.
fully aware.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
It's a state, right?
Yeah, it's the state, we don't know how that goes.
All right. I make a motion that we accept Mr. Burnreiter as the new fire chief, starting September 1st. And I'll get you the terms of his, I got it. It might even be in my truck. I thought I had it in my pocket, but,
If not, I have it at the house.
yeah.
I was gonna say, we got that agreement someplace, so.
Yeah, I got it all written down.
Is that like motion to hire?
Well, we're going to promote him, or what do you want, how do you want the verbiage? I guess I don't care. He's on the fire department now, so
Yeah.
we're not, or he's already hired, we're promoting him to fire chief.
I think you have to make a motion to hire, because it's a whole different position
Yeah, 'cause you
than what he was, and so we'll
I'll make a
find out.
motion to hire Steve Burnreiter as the fire chief as of September 1st. Terms and conditions to follow. He's on salary. Anything over the 48 hours, I don't know if you want to write this down, but anything over the 48 hours, he gets $21 an hour. 21.50, yeah, 21.50. And then every class he takes, he gets 50 cents in his salary.
2150 over 48 hours.
21.50 on anything over, yes, 48 hours a week, or so many a year, or whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
Good beer, a lot more.
So,
And then the like officer's pay and stuff, that's all at the hourly rate and okay. I seconded the motion. I don't know if anybody heard me or not.
we'll take a roll call on that.
Davidson,
Yes?
DeShano,
She can't vote by phone.
Class, yes. Cruz, yes. Campbell,
Yes.
Okay, I have nothing else on the agenda. So.
I'd like an FYI though.
Okay, and FYI, go
If
ahead.
we have used a large portion of our budget, how are we going to rein it in? If we've used
Here, I'll save you some money.
Go ahead with your question.
Well, my question is, we're 3-4 months into our fiscal year, and we have used approximately 50% of our budget. So how do we fix this? Because it's gonna end up being fixing, nobody got raises this year, but fiscally, it's bleeding. How is it gonna get fixed? Because you can't just throw money at it.
I'll
If-
have to look at the budget, because there should have been about the same amount of money as last year, so if nobody got raises, it should.
I'm just asking, you know, all considered, that we need to pay attention to the budget. And I know we bought the truck, I know we have to take care of the truck, I know we have to equip the truck. And I said that in the last meeting, you know.
We shouldn't be good on equipment, I mean, everything off the old truck will go on the new truck.
Yeah,
We shouldn't be that far off with the drop in hours that I've had.
Right.
I'm just
I'm
asking some
just
questions as
throwing that out
to,
there, so.
yeah.
I'll have to look at the budget, because like I said,
Let's hope the
I
maintenance
would
part is
have
not
probably
on the truck.
moved the fire department budget. If we didn't increase the pay, it probably just moved from one year to the next. So I'll have to look at the budget to address the situation.
Because I just think that that's something we really have to take a look at.
Yep.
And make sure that we This is the
That's the old one. That's,
gone.
yep. Way goodbye.
Good.
Finally got somebody to haul it. They tried it last week, but the guy wasn't real.
Very
doing his
good.
job.
Well, it's better safe than sorry.
So, yeah.
We don't want to sell it to get it back. So, but,
It was hands off for us. So, he drove it on, he strapped it down.
so,
I'll take a look at the budget.
I have an FYI as well.
You have a what?
FYI.
I have an FYI as well.
Okay.
So, I did receive the resumes for the fire chief position on August 7th, directly from the fire chief. I noticed that, at least on one of these, it was addressed specifically to every board member, and it was dated June 1st. We were notified on June 6th that the chief was going to retire. I asked about an acting chief in our meeting on June 10th and was told there was no need, but there was a need. And so we had to reappoint the chief on June 27th. At the July 8th board meeting, the chief requested a closed meeting to discuss this issue with the board as a whole. It was scheduled for July 24th. 33 minutes before that time for that meeting to commence, a text was sent by the supervisor canceling that meeting. July 24th. I still did not get the resumes until August 7th. We could have dealt with this issue a lot sooner had the communications on there, so that all board members could participate in figuring out what's best for our community. In addition to that, this meeting was announced less than 24 hours before it was to take place. There was never any attempt to make it at a time that would work for all board members. All of this is a violation of MCL 750.478A.
No, it's not. You know, from day one, even when it comes to salaries for the fire department, that the fire department takes care of itself and then gives it to us to review. You knew that we were looking at hiring within the fire department. So, the
And that was never a decision that the board discussed, because we were never given that opportunity as board members.
And then, when it come to a time frame there was no reason for offering a position till we discussed, or till they decided how we were going to pay for it. Meaning that what he was going to get for pay and to take these classes as an incentive to go forward. So that's what took a little longer to create. So.
Well, our policy requires us to have an acting chief. At least one of these resumes was received 2 weeks before the initial retirement date. 2 weeks, where this information could have been pushed forward so it could be considered, and it didn't happen.
and sadly to say, we just lost an asset,
Well,
okay?
maybe. We don't know yet.
Well,
It has that appearance, but we don't know that for a fact.
when somebody hands you their badge, and that I don't believe it's going to be treated in the same manner as resignations around here, where people resign and they pop back from the dead, and it's happened 3 different occasions. You know, I don't buy into that mentality. In business, I've never seen that actually happen so well as it does here. Because a resignation means nothing when it comes to numerous elected, otherwise. A resignation's a resignation. Just saying. And the last meeting we had, I said, is this going to happen? And exactly what happened did happen. And truly, I don't appreciate it. I don't. I like you. I like our department. We've got, I believe, one of the best fire departments around. But in having the best, then we rise to that standard. And we make sure it's black and white and no gray. And when the first retirement took place, not resignation, and it was well earned and deserving, but there was a step missed, a big step. And that's what I believe has happened to create some of the hard feelings, because I believe that the fire marshal and you can actually work really well together.
I can bring you a text message that I got over July 4th that will prove you that indifference with
Well,
name calling and swearing at me from the fire marshal that I've dealt with for 2 months, Charlie, and I'm not gonna sit here and talk about him, but
No.
for 2 months, I've gotten nothing but rotten text messages from him, one of them telling me, excuse my French, to grow a set of balls and make a decision, and that he will not work with me if I'm the fire chief. Those words never came out of my mouth to him if he was the fire chief. I've dealt with this for 2 months. This place is my home, Charlie. This is
I know
where
that.
I want nothing more than to take care of these people here.
Okay.
this is important that we have this conversation, Mr.
Okay.
Davison, and I'll tell you why. No, just a moment.
No.
Because
Stop.
it has, I said just a moment, I have the right to speak at this time.
I'm just gonna speak my piece.
Because that has to get out, okay?
There's
That's,
some things that have happened behind the scenes with somebody else here that you guys know nothing about, that I've swallowed my pride, because for the betterment of this department, and to be a grown-up and be the better person, I've swallowed it and walked away, and the only person that knows about it is him.
I understand that.
And I've got text messages, I've got recorded phone conversations of the things he said about this board, this township, this fire department, about me. For 2 months I've dealt with this, because I want to be here, and I want to make sure this place is better for what it is, and that these people that are here with me are taken care of. And I've swallowed it and walked away. 10 years ago, I'd have knocked him right in the nose and walked out the door and left the whole place behind.
I don't want you
won't
to do that.
I don't want to do it, and I haven't.
I don't want that. And
And I'm not
truly,
telling
I
you that it's
believe
just me.
you opening and sharing about this is an important issue.
The last 2 months have caused me
That-
more anxiety, stress, and grief than this department has caused me in 34 years of being here. Just trying to make sure that this place is better for what it is. And I'm sorry if one person doesn't like the outcome of it. It is,
Well, I just said, okay, a resignation took place, it's done. And I also
So
said,
I-
I don't believe from resignation, you should be able to come back from the dead. And I just said it.
I don't disagree with that. I think when people make decisions, decisions are made, and that decision's gonna be final. and that's
Exactly.
it. This could have been sat down and talked about, but obviously something else, and that's not my part of it. My part right now is these people to take care of these guys. That's my job.
Here's the thing. I have a
Okay.
recording of the stuff he
Just to
stated.
clarify, this
Against,
has to do with the process, and I think if the process has been properly engaged in, a lot of what you can so stress the last 2 months could have been avoided.
I understand that, and that unfortunately has nothing to do with us. So, I
But I
understand.
agree with you.
Lori, I know, I'm not arguing with you one single bit. I understand exactly what you're saying, and I'm not gonna disagree with you at all. Some of it could have been handled a lot different, and I'll say that, for sure.
Some of it could have been handled different, but there was a lot of things that,
So just know, that's the only point here.
I got you.
okay?
I got
It's
you.
nothing about you personally.
I have it 100%, Lori. Nobody wants to work with you guys and works than me more than you guys, and I have no issues. I brag all the time that we have the best working relationship with our township board out of a lot of places, and believe me, I sit down and talk with other chiefs, and we have a great working relationship, and I'm not saying that because you're all sitting here in front of me. We truly, truly do.
And I mentioned the coming back from the dead because that can't keep happening. In
I
this
understand
case,
that.
we need to go.
We need to move forward.
And in moving forward, then the
the way
department
things
will be better.
unfolded, and the only thing that I can say at this point in time is that most of what is going on or has happened did not need to happen, okay? But the way it unfolded, it's here, and we've dealt with it.
the thing is,
So,
pertaining
puts
to
us in.
that, no matter how smooth this transition would have went, the way you and Lori talked about it going, it wouldn't have mattered. That gentleman had one thing on his mind, and he wanted that white helmet.
okay.
He's repeated it to
Well,
me multiple
okay,
times.
Well, that's all.
Let's stop.
This is
Let's stop
bad.
bashing.
We're moving forward.
We're not bashing nobody.
Yes, we
Yeah,
are.
no, we're not.
I'm not bashing it, I'm just saying, that was his bucket list. And when it would've came out that he didn't, he would've left anyway. It had nothing to do with how it was handled or anything else.
And it is what it is. We're moving forward.
You know, there was clarity
was
because
not-
everybody else has come back, and it needs not to be that way.
I make a
He
motion
was
that
not-
we adjourn.
He was not, that whole event, and all the events that have taken place, okay? Mr. Bruner and I talked about it and stuff like that, and it was not necessary to bring it into the conversation, okay? At any point in time, with the resumes or anything else. The man took the high road, there it is. So,
And he's the chief for it.
yes.
And that's why I voted yes.
Thank you.
Nobody is more appreciative and more humbled by the fact that you've given me that opportunity to do this. Trust me.
That's,
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Let's move forward.
absolutely.
Thank you.
These?
I got it, 231.
That's some custody.
This one was bagel bites. Next week.
See, the system can work. No, I'm just saying.
I'm just sitting here.
You didn't have to.